Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to speak in support of my legislation. First, I would like to thank this committee for its bipartisan leadership on the issue of PFAS. It's been exactly a year this month since this committee held its first hearing, the first hearing of its kind in the Congress on PFAS, and after the contamination discovery in Parchment, Michigan, my Michigan colleague Fred Upton's district. Since then, the number of sites across Michigan has metastasized to 66 sites and over 700 sites nationwide. We have also identified almost 300 different contamination sites at military bases and facilities. We know these chemicals are harmful to human health and persist in the environment. PFAS chemicals have been linked to liver disease, thyroid dysfunction, and several forms of cancer. Michigan has become ground zero, but it's because we're looking for it and testing for it. Flint water taught Michigan something, but just last week, another study was released, and there were another 90 military sites identified. It is everywhere, and more states are going to find it once they start looking for it. Under our former Republican Governor Snyder and continued under our current Democratic Governor Whitmer, so bipartisan, nonpartisan, Michigan established MPART, the Michigan PFAS Action Response Team, to test, research, identify, recommend, and implement PFAS response actions throughout the state. And I might also add that Governor Snyder had a scientific task force that found that the guideline, not the standard, the guideline may not be stringent enough to protect health. Republican governors task force, but it's a nonpartisan issue. In my district, the rivers, the lakes, and the ponds in the Huron watershed are still contaminated with PFAS foam washing ashore, and signs are posted to not eat the fish, and we have to tell people not to consume the foam. It's altering our way of life for many in Michigan. Many states are now following Michigan's lead, testing for PFAS, but we can't adequately serve the American people and safeguard our environment without strong federal leadership. It's been over 7 months now since the EPA announced its so-called PFAS action plan. And what's been done? This is all plan and no action from where I sit. In May 2018, then EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt proudly announced that EPA would propose designating PFOA and PFOS as hazardous substances under the Superfund law. Yet, under EPA Administrator Wheeler's leadership, EPA hasn't even proposed to do it, let alone taken any action. At this rate, it'll be another year, probably longer, before they even take that first step. The PFAS Action Act was the very first bill introduced in the 116th Congress. I was proud to lead this bill with my good friend and Michigan colleague, Fred Upton. The PFAS Action Act would simply require the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency list all PFAS chemicals, including PFOA, PFOS, GenX, and many other chemicals as hazardous substances under the Superfund cleanup program within a year. It's the single most important bill Congress can pass to jumpstart the cleanup process and direct federal resources to this problem in communities across the country. While we understand there are concerns from a number of stakeholders who are worried about where the liability will ultimately fall with the CERCLA designation, but rest assured, we're committed to working with all the stakeholders and each member on this committee throughout this process to properly address any concerns. I'm confident we can and will come to a bipartisan path forward here because it's too important. Right now, without this bill and with the absence of EPA leadership, the true polluters aren't paying for the PFAS contamination they've caused. This act will change that. It will place responsibility with the polluters, it will unlock resources, and it will speed up cleanup. And the sooner we clean up these contaminated sites, the less contamination there is that we have to treat in our water systems. And until we do this, the local water systems are cleaning up their water. Clear and swift action is needed from Congress at this moment to list PFAS chemicals as a hazardous substances under CERCLA and to protect human health and environment in an expeditious manner. I yield back my 2 seconds.
Gentlewoman.